Hello and welcome to Goodwin Wrestling, where we talk about wrestling because it's bloody brilliant. And today's topic will indeed be the never seen 17-time champion John Cena's retirement tour. The greatest of all time, with one of the most legendary wrestling careers you could ever have, is officially hanging his boots up on December 17. Overall though, the retirement tour itself hasn't lived up to expectations, and unfortunately I fall into that category. How did we get here though? It all started at Money in the Bank last year, where he announced his retirement. One last Royal Rumble, one last Elimination Chamber, one last Survivor Series, and of course, one last WrestleMania. And I remember watching that thinking, holy shit, we're about to see something special happen, and yeah. The Rumble came, and as expected, there were some fantastic moments. I mean, you had a face-off between Cena and Roman, then Punk joined the fray, then Seth Rollins joined the fray. He was also in the final two, and I was already at this point fantasizing about his match at WrestleMania with Gunther. Then he lost to Jay. Jay Uso eliminated John Cena from the Royal Rumble. Jay Uso. I should have known after that we were in for a roller coaster ride. And this is where it began, because directly after the Rumble, he made it very clear that he was putting himself in the Elimination Chamber match, saying it was best for business, something straight out of the Authorities playbook. So we get to the Chamber and he actually wins it in very un-Cena-like fashion, tapping Punk out after he'd just been stomped onto the steel by Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes then came out, so did The Rock, so did that little Travis Scott. To this day, no idea why he was involved in this. Cody tells Rock to go off, he then proceeds to hug Cena, and then we witness one of the most shocking moments in wrestling history: the ultimate good guy turned heel. I'm almost 30 years old, and when that happened, I lost my shit. You had The Rock, the final boss version of The Rock, and John Cena, two of the biggest stars WWE's ever produced, forming a partnership. There's no possible way you messed that up. Except there was. Because after Elimination Chamber, we see a lot of John Cena, but nothing of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, nor that little Travis Scott. Which, when you take into account this storyline had the potential to be as big and successful as the Bloodline story, really did not make any sense. But we get to Mania. John Cena wins the title from Cody Rhodes by obviously cheating. Travis Scott also does the world's slowest interference. I've still not forgiven that. Now, you could argue, for what happened at Mania, you could be forgiven for what comes after, but they never really hit the ground running with his heel turn. There were some good moments though. You had the Randy Orton feud, the CM Punk feud, which, may I add, included a pipe bomb from Cena and the Thugonomics gimmick from bloody CM Punk. But some of it was just wasted, like he had a tag match where his tag partner was Logan against Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. He was involved with R-Truth like 3 times, I think. No disrespect to R-Truth, but that just seems like a waste. In a move nobody saw coming though, I think it was a week before SummerSlam with his rematch with Cody, he turned back into a face. Then at SummerSlam, he did drop the belt in one of the best matches of the damn year with Cody Rhodes. Like, seriously, it blows the Mania one out of the water. But then we hit another roadblock, as at the end of SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar returned. And get this, before he faced Lesnar, he then faces Logan Paul at Clash of Paris. Now, I'm not knocking it, it was a fantastic match, but again, he's already been involved with Logan Paul, and he's only got so many dates left at this point. He then gets squashed by Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza in a really poor attempt to recreate their magic match that happened in SummerSlam all those years ago, but they did redeem themselves with an AJ Styles match right after, which arguably is one of the best matches I've ever seen. Off topic, AJ Styles, please don't retire, mate. You're still one of the best in the world. Now though, Cena's only got 4 dates left: 2 Monday Night Raws, 1 last Survivor Series, and 1 last Saturday Night main event. And there's also a tournament called The Last Time Is Now that's just been announced to decide his final ever opponent at Saturday Night main event. And this is where we're up to, guys. And you actually could argue that how poorly his heel turn was handled actually made his face run all that more special. But I'm not going to say that, because that's just lazy booking. But you know what? Cena's my guy, man. I know I'm wearing an LA Knight shirt, but Cena's my guy. So Triple H, lad, you have done some decent work since taking charge, but this just isn't one of them. So do yourself a favour, take a seat back, kick your legs up, open a bottle of water, take a sip, spit it out as well for all I care, and let me rebook John Cena's retirement tour. Now, I am going to keep this as close to what's going on in real life in terms of the shows you turned up to, the dates, all that sort of stuff, just to make sure that what I am saying matches with what's already happened. And I'm also going to keep some parts of the retirement tour, because I did say overall it wasn't to my liking, but certain parts of it have been fantastic. I'm not going to tell you yet because I want you to keep watching. But the first thing I'm going to do is actually keep the Royal Rumble the exact same. And I'm actually going to have Jey Uso eliminate John Cena to win the Royal Rumble. Because this leads to the press conference where he basically says, I'm in the chamber, it's best for business, I'm going to win it, and I'm going to main event my last WrestleMania. So we get to the Elimination Chamber, and I should point out at this point, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson isn't after Cody Rhodes' soul. Thought that was a poor impression, wasn't it? But the bottom line is, The Rock isn't here, and neither is Mr. Fiend. That little prick is staying as far away from WWE as possible. However, we get to the chamber, and I want to keep it the exact same. Seth Rollins stomps Punk into the ground, Cena takes advantage of it, and he wins. This time, though, after the match, John Cena's alone, he's celebrating, and just like the second Royal Rumble win that Cody had, he looks to the crowd. He sees his opponent, this case John Cena's opponent being Cody Rhodes. He points at him, Cody Rhodes lifts his title, fireworks go off, the match is set for WrestleMania. Now this leaves us 4 weeks in total to build this match up, babyface v babyface. So we get Cena coming out and he does his whole babyface shtick, he runs to the ring, he's very energetic, he gets on the mic, and he says, I told you guys I'd win the Elimination Chamber. And he also intends to absolutely win his last ever WrestleMania main event, breaking the record in doing so. And instead of in real life Cena getting cut off by Cody, Cena actually invites Cody out this time. He says that he's proud of Cody, that he's carried that title with respect since Mania 40, but he's got a lot riding on this match. And that Cody should absolutely expect the fight of his life. And Cody, being respectful, because remember, this is babyface v babyface, says he wouldn't expect anything less from the greatest of all time. He goes on to say Cena was actually the person he wanted to face at Mania because he believes that he can take Cena's spot as not only the face of the company, but being the hero to the kids that Cena was. And that he's ready for all of that responsibility, and beating him at Mania would prove that. Now Cena doesn't get offended by this, but you can tell he does get a little bit irritated by it. Almost as if Cody's looking past WrestleMania 41 and past John, so Cena quickly reminds him that he might be at the end of his career, but he's still John freaking Cena. And he's the most dangerous person that Cody can overlook because he doesn't need to out-wrestle Cody. He doesn't need to beat him. He just needs to pin him 1, 2, 3, and he wins that title and breaks the record. I know I stole that bit from the Roman Reigns segment, but just allow me. But we've set the tone with that first promo already. Cody's overlooking him, and John Cena, acting like the old gunslinger, reckons he's got one last reign in him. The next week, Cody comes out, and he wants to clear the air by basically saying he's not overlooking Cena, and it'd be an absolute moron to, because, again, he's John freaking Cena. He just can't help but think of his future when and if he does beat Cena, because that is exciting. Then Cena comes out uninvited as well, may I add, and he basically says to Cody, it's a damn good job you're not overlooking me, because at Mania 41 I'm gonna bring it with everything I've got. But he does say it's good that he's thinking about the future, because when they used to ride together from show to show, continent to continent, they always used to talk about this in the car. He says, do you remember them days, Cody? You always asking me for advice and you're just like a sponge soaking up all the knowledge you possibly can. But I also told you one thing about being at the top. If you're not 100% on top of your game 24/7, 365 days of the year, the only direction is down. So I give you one last piece of advice, and this one's for free. Focus on the present. Focus on the now. Because if you don't, that future of yours that you're focused on is going to go poof in the air like dust as you're looking at the stars at WrestleMania 41, watching me lift my 17th championship. So we are now shifting this into second gear. Cody's been very gently reminded by Cena to focus on the now, otherwise his future is basically going to be gone. Everything he's worked for up to this point, gone like that. He also made a very subtle dig about Cody being Stardust. I just love little things like that. Going into our second to last week before WrestleMania though, Cody comes out and he does look a bit miffed this time, pointing out that Cena is right. If you want to be on top of this industry, you got to be on top of your game. But he also reminds him that since he returned at Mania 39, he has been on top of his game very consistently. But Cena doesn't know what that means anymore, because when's the last time he won a singles match? When's the last time he beat someone one-on-one in a fair match? And that sparks quite a mixed reaction, because you got to remember, at this point, They're both baby faces. It's a good guy versus a good guy, but both sides have taken shots at each other now, and pretty personal ones at that. Cena with the Stardust thing, Cody pointing out Cena's not won any singles matches in a long time. This dream match that everybody's been clamouring for is slowly becoming a reality. And that comment also sparks a Cena interruption as he comes out and he says, "That is true, Cody. I haven't won a singles match in quite a long time, but none of them are as important and as vital and as personal to me as this one. My last WrestleMania match, fighting for my 17th record-breaking championship." But he says, realistically though, Cody, I don't have anything to lose. Granted, I have the 17th time championship, but if you lose everything. And yeah, sure, there is a chance I could lose. My track record in singles matches isn't the best, but I know how to bounce back without a title. Do you? If we're going to do a history lesson on my career, let's go back a little bit further, Cody. For 20 years, with or without the title, I've been the face of this company. You've been the face of it for what, 2 years? You might be champion, but kid, you've got a lot to learn. Again, another reaction gets drawn from the crowd. You can feel everybody beginning to really get into this because personal jabs are constantly being thrown at each other at this point. Now, Cena's about to walk past him. He's done with him at this point, but Cody grabs his shoulder and gently shoves him back in front of him. He says, "I have a lot to learn. I've learned a lot more about wrestling than you ever have, John, because I didn't just put all my eggs in this basket that is WWE. I travelled the world, Cena. I have won championship. I sold out arenas with my indie pals. Don't tell me I've got a lot to learn, because whilst they were chanting and screaming for me, everybody else was booing you. You're the ultimate good guy, right, John? You always do everything by the book. You always do what's right. So tell me, why did the WWE Universe hate you so much? Why did they cheer when something bad happened to you? I'll tell you why, John. Because as much as you're my hero, you were never theirs. And the worst thing is, he's absolutely right. For years, the fans absolutely hounded him. They cheered for him when he was out with that torn tricep. It was only when he became part-time that he was way more appreciated. And now we get to the final show of WrestleMania. For 3 weeks now, tensions have been building between the two, but there is still respect there. Cena starts though. He comes out and he says, "You know what? Cody was right last week. You guys did hate me, didn't you?" He's right by saying I tried to do the right thing every single time and I just got resented for it. But do you know what I never did, despite having absolutely every reason to? I never ever gave up. I never turned my back on the fans. I never quit and left. Something that you can't say, Cody. You got given a rough hand at work, and instead of trying to make it work for yourself, you just gave up. You cried like a little packed your bags and went somewhere else. And that's the difference between me and you. If I was given what you were, I'd have made it work. I live by my words because they're more than just words to me. You say you want to be the face of the WWE, but you can't be because you give up. And top guys don't give up. You're a pretender, Cody, and come Sunday night at WrestleMania 41, I'm going to show you that this old gunslinger has still got it. Cody, though, as he does, just simply smiles. You're right, John. I did leave this place. I did pack my bags and leave, but I never gave up. Giving up implies quitting, and that simply can't be true. How could I have? I am 1 week away from defending this world title, the one thing in the world that you want, in the biggest wrestling event of the year. Here's the thing though that you've got to realise. We have faced each other before, and every single time up to this point, you have been the victor. Because you were John Cena, and I was just an up and coming Cody Rhodes. But I'm in my prime now. I've been around the block, John. I beat the most dominant champion in modern times to get this last year at WrestleMania 40, and nobody since then has been able to take it from me. And you are going to be no different. Now, Cody at this point is exiting the ring, but he leaves Cena with one last remark, and yes, I am stealing this from what actually happened in real life. He says, "I wish you luck, John, because on Sunday night, you're going to face one of the best wrestlers in the world for that 17-time championship. And for a guy who can't wrestle on the last legs of his career, that might just be too much for you to handle." And you can tell that got under Cena's skin just a little bit. But it's true, he got that chanted at him relentlessly over the years, and now not only has he not won a singles match in years, he's got to face one of the best wrestlers in the world in Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, for a year at this point, I believe, on the biggest stage of them all, he's got a mountain to climb. So we land on Sunday night. The main event is here. You got John Cena doing his babyface entrance, so is Cody, and the match is good. Cody's getting near falls, so is Cena. And we get to the final stage of the match, and both men are clearly absolutely knackered. Cody certainly has more energy, and that's visible to anybody watching, but Cena's experience is helping him out a lot here. However, I say helping him a lot, but it's narrowly keeping him in it. Now, Cody hits the bionic elbow on Cena. He gets him in the position for the Super Cody cutter off the top rope. However, Cena moves out of the way, and Cody connects with the cutter on the referee. And then there's the inaudible gasp from the audience, because obviously in WWE, with Cody still having history with The Rock, and the referee being down, they're expecting an interference. So a couple of seconds goes by, Cody's just standing there, he doesn't know what to do. He turns around, and John Cena kicks him in the balls. Cody drops to the floor in absolute disbelief. Cena almost himself is in disbelief, but he quickly snaps out of it because he knows he isn't done. He picks Cody up for the AA, but he doesn't just give him one, he gives him two. He screams for a referee to come down. One does. He gets him in the pin. 1, 2, 3. John Cena officially turns heel, beating Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 to win his 17th record-breaking championship. And at this point, the crowd's going absolutely mental, because in the space of 60 seconds, they've witnessed the greatest babyface of all time turn heel and win the record-breaking title. And this eliminates the interference thing, because WWE overused that like mad, and it also eliminates The Rock and Travis Scott from this. Cena does this on his own accord, and that makes for a very interesting story to tell. And it's because you can see why Cena did it. He was just hanging on with Cody. He had no choice but to do it if he wanted to win. And he had everything that Cody said playing on his mind. The fact that he hadn't won a singles match in years, the fact that the fans hated him, the fact that they were chanting, "You can't wrestle." The end shot though of WrestleMania 41, John Cena in the ring, smiling with a little bit of regret, holding that title. And so we get to the Raw after Mania. Cody is a no-show, just like in real life. As for Cena though, he doesn't actually open the show, he closes it to a very mixed reaction. He doesn't change anything about himself though. He keeps the music the same, he keeps his appearance the same, he's even acting like a babyface, because in his mind, he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. He gets on the mic and he says, "The champ is here." As I've said though, he gets very mixed reactions from this, and this confuses Cena. And he's like, "What's going on? Why are you booing me? This entire time, I've been saying I want to be the 17-time champion. I've done it now, and you guys are booing me. I did it. We made history. 17-time champion. It's never been done before, and it officially makes me the greatest of all time, and you guys are booing me?" Cena looks around at the crowd completely in disbelief, but instead of acting like a babyface now, he's reacting to this how a normal person would react to this if they've accomplished something and everybody just shits on him for it. But then you hear this. I have voices in my head, they count. Randy Orton comes out. No words were spoken, no promo, just a face-off between the two. And the last shot of Monday Night Raw ends with Cena holding the title above Orton's head. The match is officially set for Backlash. In the next week, Randy Orton comes out and he's saying, "Okay then, we're rehashing the history, are we, Cena? Me and John, one-on-one for the WWE Championship. It's just like old times, except this time's a bit different. It's a different Cena, one that quite clearly will cheat to win." I can almost respect it though. I mean, it's not like I've never done that before, and he is the greatest of all time. And that might be the case, but right now, to me, Cena, you are the single biggest hypocrite I have ever met. You've preached hustle, loyalty, and respect for the last 20 years, when in reality, you should have preached bullshit, because that's just what you're full of. But we go back a long way, don't we, John? All the way back to OVW. So at Backlash, I'm going to do you a favour. I'm going to knock some sense into that thick little skull of yours by hitting you with the most deadliest, most destructive 3 letters in wrestling sports entertainment: RKO. And that triggers Cena's music hitting, but this time he doesn't go to the ring, he actually stays on the entrance ramp. Once again, it's a mixed reaction, but it's a more positive one because it's Cena versus Randy Orton, but there's definitely still some boos there. He makes it clear though that he doesn't know what Randy's talking about. He says he didn't cheat, the referee didn't call a disqualification, therefore he won it fair and square. If anything, he was just being smart. And he's not coming to the ring because he knows Randy better than anybody and he doesn't fancy an RKO tonight. But he says Backlash will be brutal. It'll be a fight. But more importantly, it will just be like old times in the sense that John Cena beats Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And this for me makes Cena a very interesting character because he's quite clearly a heel in denial at this point. He's staying on the entrance ramp like a coward, not facing Randy one-on-one. He's denied cheating to beat Cody at WrestleMania 41. It makes for a better dynamic than just hating the fans. The next week though, John Cena comes out, again a mixed reaction, and it's quite clearly really getting under his skin now. He says, I don't get what is wrong with you guys. Why are you booing me? I've been going through this over and over again in my head and I can't figure it out. When I told you guys at Money in the Bank that I wanted to become 17-time champion, you guys cheered for that. And what, now that it's a reality, it's a bad thing? You're acting like I've not done worse than what I did at Mania, by the way. Remember when I threw Edge in the Long Island Sound? I AE'd Batista through the damn entrance ramp after he quit in an I Quit match. I pulled a whole stack of chairs onto Wade Barrett. And at this point, Wade Barrett would say, yes, he did. He says, but I've done one slightly questionable thing to get what I deserve. No, to get what I've earned. And you guys turn on me for it. All of a sudden, I'm booed. What is the matter with you? What's wrong with you? And now the fans have gone from mixed to fully booing John Cena. The dynamic between Cena and the fans has changed now. He looks at his title and he looks at the hard camera with a face that he's just accept the reality of the situation. He gets back on the mic and he says, Randy, I really do hope you're ready for Backlash because I've beaten you before the fairway. You've seen what I did to get this title, so you know I'll do whatever it takes to keep it. And then in a very un-Cena-like way, he lifts the title up and says the champ is here. As he's posing though, of course Randy hits him with an RKO out of nowhere and he lifts the title to end that Monday Night Raw. Here's what I'd do differently though. Instead of Cena and Orton main eventing Backlash, I'd actually have them begin the show. You're gonna have to bear with me for that because it will make sense. In terms of the match itself though, I would keep pretty much everything that happened except for the stuff that will get you DQ because this is just a normal singles match. They're pulling out all the stops though to beat each other. Cena hits Randy with an RKO, Randy hits Cena with an AA. I'd also have some other cool spots in there too, like Randy doing that old counter AA into an RKO. I'd also see as well if Cena can turn Randy's RKO into a counter move where he puts him down for the side slam in the build up for the 5-knuckle shuffle. I think that'd be sick. More importantly though, just like that in real life match, it's bloody good. However, Randy's in-ring activity over Cena is definitely showing because he's starting to get the upper hand now as the match draws to its end. And Cena knows this, he's not stupid, so he does something he's never done before in his career, but something Randy did to Cena in one of their matches. Randy's got Cena dead to rights, but Cena takes a look to the left. He sees the referee and he just slaps him. Randy Orton is in disbelief because he knows that Cena's just done to him what Randy did to him all those years ago, and the referee's got no choice but to call a DQ. Randy wins, but he doesn't win the title. Cena gets the title from the ref's hands. He's clutching it so tight to his chest, it's basically a part of his skin. And he's saying to Randy, I didn't cheat. I was just smarter than you. Randy, though, the entire time is in genuine disbelief. He thought a little part of his Cena from old was in there, but the Cena he's facing right now is totally different. And as Cena is celebrating, holding the title up, you know what's coming. Randy Orton hits him with an RKO out of nowhere and he storms into the back. And in case you're wondering, that's why I'd have the match started, because could you imagine main eventing Backlash and it being a DQ in that fashion? Absolutely not. If you start it like that, it won't leave a sour taste in the fans' mouth as much as it would if it main evented. Plus, this opens the opportunity for a second match to really end this rivalry between Orton and Cena. However, the main thing from this is Cena wins the title by cheating and he tries to justify it by being smart. But whether he wants to admit it or not, at this point, he can't defend the title successfully without cheating. However, the ways that he's cheating aren't the same old. They're creative and throwbacks to his history, and that's what I love about this. It's not just a chair to the back of the back or whatever, something like that. it has meaning to that certain individual. Now, obviously, next up is Saturday Night Main Event, where we got Cena and R-Truth in a one-on-one match, but we're going to go a different direction. Instead, we get the rematch between Randy and Cena, but Cena will only agree to this under one condition. If Cena beats Randy, he will no longer be able to challenge Cena for the title while Cena is the champion. But to avoid a BS DQ finish, all that stuff, it's going to be a ladder match. And it is just as good as their first match, but this time the brutality is being up to level. They're battering each other, pulling each other through tables, they're pulling each other through the announce desk, they're smashing each other with ladders, chairs, you name it. And you can have a cool spot like Cena climbing the ladder, Randy grabbing his leg into an RKO. Once again though, Cena does pull some BS in this match, and it's a little bit of another throwback from his history. So Cena does get the upper hand, he puts him through the announce desk, but he knows it won't be enough to keep Randy down long enough for him to climb the ladder and get the title, so he improvises. He goes under the ring and he finds a pair of handcuffs and he shows the camera and he says, just like old times, eh Randy? So he gets Orton to the ring and he handcuffs him to the bottom rope so that no matter what Orton does, he can't stop Cena. He then goes on to climb the ladder as a helpless Randy Orton basically watches and accepts his fate as Cena grabs the title and beats him yet again. He clutches the title closer than ever. He does the "you can't see me" to Randy. The crowd is absolutely booing the house down though. And as Cena's at the top of the ladder holding the title above his head, he's smiling, but you can tell on his face that he's not satisfied with what he's doing, because he's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he needs to. He is a bad guy, there's no doubt about it, but he's not a bad guy at his core. However, that is 3 matches in a row where he's cheated to win, but more importantly, 3 different ways to cheat, which does keep it interesting. As for the next PLE, it is of course Money in the Bank, and we only actually have 2 weeks to build this match up. So on the next SmackDown, Cena turns up to a load of boos, but this time he doesn't run to the ring. He does what he did in real life. He walks to the ring instead. He's not energetic, he's not doing it for the fans. His only real motive behind cheating was to keep the title for the fans, but now that they've turned on him, he doesn't care anymore. He gets to the ring and he says, you know what, you guys booed me for years, and it never really bothered me. My job is to get you reacting to me, whether that's cheering, booing, or telling me that I can't wrestle, which you did a lot. But the point is, you reacted to me. This though, I take personally, because this is my last ride with you guys, and you're ruining it for me. I've lived my entire life by hustle, loyalty, and respect, but no matter how much respect I give you guys, no matter how much loyalty I've shown you guys over the years, no matter how much I've hustled for you, this is what I get. You've got no loyalty to me, and you've got no respect for me. He looks dead into the hard cam and he says, and for that, guys, from the bottom of my black heart right now, fuck you. I am the 17-time champion. I am the greatest of all time. And you want to boo me? Fine. You want to make me a bad guy? Fine. Have it your way. Remember though, you asked for this, and now trust me when I say there's nothing stopping me. Because there's no one in that locker room as good as me. Yes, there's some good talent. Yes, there's some half-decent talent. But on my level, nobody's on Everest with me. He raises the title as he looks at the hard cam, and then you hear this. CM Punk comes out and the place absolutely erupts. Punk gets on the mic and he says, there he is. That's the John Cena I saw through all those years ago. The company man who could do no wrong finally reveals himself to be a dickhead. Over the years we've disagreed on a lot of things, Cena, but we can agree that in the locker room there are some good talent, some half-decent talent, some amazing talent. But I'm the best in the world. And he says, now considering I'd have beaten you if that little bitch Seth Rollins hadn't have got involved at Elimination Chamber, I figured you owe me one. And that one is a shot at that title. And this makes Cena laugh. He actually begins to fully crack up when he said that. And he simply says, Phil, you don't want this. I've beaten you many, many, many times before. You don't want to face me when I'll do anything it takes to beat you. So I'm going to do you a favour now because we're all pals. I'm not going to end your career before I end mine. He goes to walk past Punk, but he gets him into a GTS, hits him with it, and we see Punk holding the title above his head as the show ends. Now next week you see Cena backstage absolutely fuming at last week's antics by Punk, and he's looking for him everywhere. He finds Nick Aldis and he hasn't seen him anywhere. He's searching, and he doesn't find Punk. Instead he finds Uncle Howdy's Bo Dallas. And Cena snaps out of his fit of anger as he realizes who he's looking at, who he's face to face with. And Bo looks him dead in the eyes and says, he always knew Superman was a lie. And that was a bit of a reality check for Cena, because he takes a step back and he looks at his title on his shoulder with a little bit of regret. As I've said, he's not a bad guy because he wants to be. He's a bad guy because he feels like he needs to be to keep that title. And that's of course a little nod as well to the late great Wyndham Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt. May you forever rest in peace, lad. Now, later in the show, you see Nick Aldis with John Cena once again, but this time, instead of Cena looking for Punk, he's asking Nick to try and get him out of the match with Punk at Money in the Bank. But Nick isn't having any of it, and he basically sends Cena on his way, but as he turns around, he bumps into R-Truth. And this is basically an identical interaction from what happened at the press conference where Cena put R-Truth through the table. And this is where we do get Cena versus R-Truth. However, instead of Cena trying to leave with the title, Cena has him dead to rights, and he wants to make a statement by beating R-Truth. So he does get his title, he's lining Truth up to hit him with it, and then we hear Punk's music. And this is where we do get Punk going through the table, and we get John Cena's version of the pipe bomb on CM Punk, because there's no way I'm getting rid of that. Obviously, this means we're losing the Punkonomics thing from CM Punk, but Punk and Cena at Money in the Bank, it just writes itself. Now, the night itself should go exactly how it did. More specifically, I know I'm an LA Knight fan, but for the purposes of this, Seth Rollins should win Money in the Bank. Cena and Punk, though, end the show as the men's Money in the Bank match closes it just to make that timeline work. And they basically have the same match, including one part where Cena's going to hit Punk with the title, but he thinks better of it. He does the right thing, and he chucks the title away. Because he's trying to convince himself now, especially against CM Punk, that he can beat him. He can beat the best in the world without cheating. In doing so, he runs into a GTS from CM Punk. He gets the pin. 1, 2, and then Cena kicks out at the very, very last second. And that's where you hear Seth Rollins' music. All of that shenanigans happens, and Cena and Punk come face to face with each other. And this time I'm changing something. Instead of Punk holding his hand out to shake it, Cena holds his hand out for Punk to shake his. But instead of embracing Cena, Punk thinks better of it and he slaps his hand away. Cena tries to get Punk into an AA position, but he counters it, falling to the ground, where he runs into a stomp from Seth Rollins. Cena then gets Seth Rollins into an AA, takes advantage of the situation and pins Punk. 1, 2, 3. He once again retains the title. He doesn't necessarily cheat, but he still doesn't do it in a clean John Cena-like manner. This match, though, is going to be the turning point for Cena's character, because he was going to use the title to beat Punk. Instead, though, he thought better of it. He tried to go back to his old ways, even to the point of trying to shake Punk's hand. But despite his efforts, it's still a win he didn't earn. Now, the Raw after Money in the Bank, Cena comes out and he's like, I know what you guys are all thinking right now. John Cena can't win without cheating. John Cena can't win clean. But you know what? I don't give a rat's ass what any of you guys think. I'm the WWE champion for a reason, because I can get it done. I took out your golden boy at WrestleMania. I slayed the Viper not once, but twice, and I pinned the so-called best in the world. Who else is there? Seriously, who else in that locker room is even close to my level? Better yet, actually, what more do I have to prove? Nothing, especially to you lot. He says, get used to this landscape of WWE until December 13th. Because this title is going nowhere. The crowd then starts to go absolutely berserk, but Cena doesn't really know why. But he turns around and he runs into a phenomenal forearm from AJ Styles. That's right, AJ is Cena's next opponent, and instead of it being rushed like it was in real life, we are getting an actual build-up this time. AJ Styles, though, comes out on the next SmackDown and he says, a lot has changed between Cena and myself since the last time we faced each other. But it's an understatement to say Cena's changed a lot more than me. Or at least he wants us to think he's this big bad guy John Cena, when in reality, he's just a scared little boy, isn't he? Scared of losing that title he holds so dear to himself. And that's why he's resorted to being a cheating bastard to keep it. There was a time I respected you, John, but it's really hard to respect someone who's so afraid of being forgotten. And that draws Cena to come out. He's calm, he's collected, but he says to AJ, Do you realise who you're talking to right now? We've gone through my history. Let's go through yours, shall we? Whilst you were wrestling in bingo halls, I was here in the WWE selling out arenas. You were Mr. TNA. I was, and still am to this day, Mr. WWE. When you got here, I'll give you credit, you were already a name. You were already established on the indie scene. But I made you global. And do you know what else I'm going to do for you, AJ? But before anything else happens, he twats AJ on the head with the microphone. He then gives him an AA, picks up the microphone, and he says to him, I'm going to put you on the map one last time. Is just another name that John Cena beat in his retirement tour. The next SmackDown, Cena comes out looking really smug, really up himself, really arrogant, and he says, do you guys really think the phenomenal one is going to beat me? Need I remind you, I took out the person who took out Roman Reigns, the guy who held on to this title for 1,316 days. AJ Styles couldn't even beat a YouTuber. Put some respect on my damn name. Me and him are not on the same level. Now this sparks AJ to come running out to try and confront Cena for a bit of a fight, but Cena rolls out of the ring, heads towards the entrance ramp to escape it. AJ gets onto the mic and he says, you're big and tough when I'm not here, aren't you? But as soon as I arrive, you prove what I'm saying. You're nothing but a scared little boy, scared of losing that title. And that's why Night of Champions is gonna be a cakewalk, because I've already beaten the old John Cena. Whatever this John Cena is that I'm looking at is nothing more than someone cosplaying a wrestler. And now we've arrived at the SmackDown before Night of Champions, where there's going to be a contract signing between AJ and Cena. And Cena is a man of few words during this segment, saying, I am sick and damn tired of the disrespect that is coming my way from you, AJ. Remind me, when's the last time you won a title? Exactly, it's by the grace of God you've actually got a shot at this come Night of Champions. But don't worry, I'm going to make sure it's your last. And AJ laughs at that and he says, you know, you've been called a lot of things in your career, haven't you? A coward, a cheater, a liar, a manipulator. But most recently, you've been called the greatest of all time, Big Match Johnny even. You've even been called Super Cena, haven't you? But you've never ever been called a good wrestler. And that obviously sparks that chant from the crowd, and you can see Cena's face just dropping. I've not had the career that you've had, John, but the phenomenal one has never been called a bad wrestler. Cena then gets a cheap shot on AJ and puts him through the table. He doesn't say anything else, he just looks at the hard cam holding the title up, very similar to the way he did at the Elimination Chamber when he originally turned heel on Cody in real life. So now we've got the build-up. Two men with something to prove to each other. More importantly, though, for Cena, he's got to prove that he can win the matches by himself. He can hang with the best wrestlers in the world, even at this stage of his career. And as you'd expect, it's a fantastic match between the two. I mean, it's AJ and Cena, for God's sake. And I actually want this match to mirror what they did in real life as much as humanly possible without making it not make sense. One thing I wouldn't change, though, is the finishing moves that they did from other wrestlers. But one thing I would tweak about this is Cena would do all the bad guys' finishing moves from his history, and AJ would do all the good guys ones. Because obviously right now, that's their characters. AJ's a good guy and Cena's a bad guy. So Cena would do the RKO from Orton, Edgy Spear, the skull crushing finale, all heels from his history. And AJ could do the sweet chin music like he did in real life, the running knee from Daniel Bryan, and maybe, I don't know if he can do this by the way, but I'd love to see AJ do the 619. I also want them to do what they did in real life too, by staying in the ring for the entire match. I think that is just such a nice touch to these pair. More importantly though, in this match, there's absolutely no cheating involved. And Cena just about gets the win after catching AJ from the top rope, trying to give him a phenomenal forearm. He gets him in the AA and pins him 1, 2, 3. This though took almost everything out of Cena, and you can see clear as day on his face that he is absolutely knackered. Through this though, he's coming back to who he was before. He's coming back to the person he was when he announced this retirement tour, that he can get the job done without needing to do shady stuff to do it. Him and AJ though have a moment together in the ring, a show of respect. They don't shake each other's hands, but they nod. That's enough for them, because Cena's not there just yet, but AJ does leave him with one sentence. He says to Cena, now that is the John Cena I know. He then exits the ring, leaving John Cena alone, with the crowd for the first time properly since WrestleMania 41 actually cheering him. And this catches Cena off guard, and you can tell that as he looks around at the crowd. He was hated for years by the fan base, then he was loved again, hated again, and now, because of that performance, beating AJ Styles clean, no cheating, the fans seem to be wanting him to do well again. Cena smiles, he holds up the title, but then you hear this.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Cody Rhodes, for the first time since Mania 41, has returned at Night of Champions, and his motive for returning is clear as day. He doesn't say anything. He looks at Cena, he points at him. The match is officially set for SummerSlam. Now on the next SmackDown, Cody and Cena come face to face for the first time since WrestleMania 41, and instead of Cena saying he can't make it because he's knackered, he says to Cody, at WrestleMania 41, for the first time in my career, I cheated to win, and I thought because of what the win would mean, the record-breaking title, my last ever WrestleMania main event win, it would feel amazing. But it didn't. So this match at SummerSlam that I'm obliged to give you, I'm going to make sure there's no controversy here. There's no second guesses, there's an absolute winner. It's going to be a street fight, no rules, no disqualification, and no matter what happens in this match, there will be an undisputed WWE champion at the end of it. Because it's not about proving anything to the WWE universe, it's not about proving it to you or that locker room that I can get it done. It's about proving it to myself that at this stage in my career, I'm still who I say I am. The match is set for SummerSlam, and they do meet one final time before they compete against each other again. And in real life, this is where Cena actually turned back into a good guy. Right now though, he's not quite there yet. I would say he's more 60% bad guy, 40% good guy at this point. He's there, but not quite. In their final meeting though, Cody says, you know, I've been away for quite a while, but that doesn't mean I haven't been keeping my eye on this place. More specifically, I've been keeping my eye on you, and I've noticed since you've broken the record, beaten me, won the championship, you've not been yourself at all. And I don't mean by you cheating to win, being shady, but you just haven't been happy, have you? Because you've had to be someone you're not in order to keep that on your shoulder. And it was only the last couple of months that CM Punk and AJ Styles really made you realise that. Despite everything though, despite you screwing me at Mania 41, you are still my hero. And I mean this when I say this, because I believe that hero of mine is still in there somewhere. May the best man win at SummerSlam. And Cody then extends his hand out for a handshake to show a sign of respect. Cena though actually surprisingly shakes his hand, but he pulls him in closer, lifts the title, grabs a microphone and says, "Don't worry, I will." And for me personally, the SummerSlam match does not really need to be changed all that much because, I mean, when Dave Meltzer gives a WWE match 5 stars, you know it's a damn good match. The one thing though I would change, at the beginning of the match, they don't embrace, because in real life when they did that, Cena had already turned into a good guy, he already addressed his demons. Here though, he's still conflicted, he's not quite there yet, which is why Cody does extend a handshake, but Cena just twats him instead. Everything else I would keep the exact same. We witnessed the rebirth of Super Cena, which absolutely wins the crowd back. We witnessed Super Cody Rhodes as well. Multiple crossroads, multiple AAs, Super Crossroads, Super Cody Cutters, the Bionic Elbow, the 5-knuckle shuffles. Every move under the sun is used, especially where Cena has Cody on the Codinator and he just yeets him off his freaking shoulders. I don't like saying the word, but that was the definition of aura. However, we're now into the final stage of this match and Cody gets Cena in one last Cody Cutter from the top rope. He's got him right where he wants him. Cena is absolutely dead to rights at this point. I don't think he's got anything left in the tank. He's done, and Cody knows this. And just as Cena's like starting to groggily get towards his feet, just like in real life, he gives him that one last salute. He gets him in the last crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cena loses the title. Cody Rhodes wins it back. And after the match, Cena is in the corner. He's witnessing Cody about to be given the championship once again, but he stands up and asks the ref to not to. He gets the title himself. He looks at it. He smiles and he officially passes the torch over to Cody Rhodes. He shakes Cody's hands, he embraces him, and he lifts his hands to congratulate him on the victory. And here we see the full face turn of John Cena. This just feels so earned, man. And instead of him getting interrupted by Brock bloody Lesnar of all people, he exits, he turns around to the ramp, he gives them a salute, and all he can hear is "Thank you, Cena." The crowd have fully got behind him again. Cena, though, on the next SmackDown comes out to an absolute stone cold, earth-shattering-esque pop. He comes out, the crowd are going berserk. He's back to being his normal self. He's the babyface he was when he announced his retirement tour. He gets on the microphone, and the first thing he says to everybody is, "I'm sorry. Since WrestleMania, I lost sight of who I was for some shiny little belt. I did everything I could to keep it, but in turn I became everything I hate. I felt like I needed to prove myself to you guys because something Cody said stuck with me. The fact that I hadn't won a match by myself in a one-on-one match in a long time, and he is right. I've lost some big ones over the years to Austin Theory, Roman Reigns, bloody Solo Sikoa, and in turn, I felt like, especially in this final run, I needed to win no matter the cost. But I did learn something about myself in that time. I learned I would prefer to lose being myself than to win being something I'm not." Then you hear the swords clattering together and Drew McIntyre comes out and interrupts him. And he's saying just how disappointed he is in John Cena because he was just getting interested in his retirement tour. But now that you've lost to Cody and you're Mr. Righteous again, you're just sounding like a little bitch. And Cena says, "At least this little bitch can hold a title for longer than 5 minutes. He says, "It's such a shame, Drew, because you're so talented, but you're more known for being an online Twitter troll than your in-ring performances." Drew then proceeds to get in the ring laughing at that comment, but out of nowhere smacks Cena with a Glasgow kiss. So we're sort of following what happened in real life, except Cody's out of the way, more importantly Logan Paul's out of the way, and this gives Drew McIntyre some spotlight with John Cena. Later on that night though, Cena's backstage meeting some old faces. He runs into Sheamus and he has a laugh with him. R-Truth, who he sort of makes amends with, and then he bangs into Randy Orton. And no words are said here, but you can tell that they're both on the same wavelength, the respect's there, and there's no bad blood. Now we move to the next SmackDown, and Cena's talking about Drew McIntyre, but he's not actually there that night. And he says he doesn't want to waste one of his last dates on someone who isn't even there. So if anybody in the back wants to face the greatest of all time right here, right now, you know what to do. If you want some, come get some. Now there is a lot of people you could throw out there and have a match with Cena at this point. You could have The Miz because of that history there. You could have Sheamus there because there's that history there with him too. But me personally, I'd throw someone in the ring with Cena from NXT, someone who would really benefit from the John Cena rub, and I believe that person is Javon Evans. He goes out, they have an outstanding match. Javon really gets to show the main roster fan base what he can do in the ring, and if you follow NXT, you know just how good he is. In the final stage of the match though, Javon Evans is lining Cena up for his finishing move, but in true Cena style, he catches him, he rolls over, puts him into the AA, and gets him over. However, as soon as Cena gets up, he runs straight into a Claymore kick by Drew McIntyre. The ref calls a DQ, and that's the match done. But this leaves Javon Evans to actually attacking Drew McIntyre, but obviously Drew gets the upper hand on him because he's a bit more fresh. But then Cena and McIntyre go at it. They brawl, they have to be separated, and Nick Aldis makes it official for Clash at Paris, Cena versus McIntyre. In this match though, Drew pretty much dominates Cena. I mean, this is a very Gunther-esque performance. It's almost like he's coasting. Anytime Cena gets a lick of offense in, Drew just absolutely twats him one and he goes down like a sack of spuds. However, once again, Drew can't get out of his own way, and this is his downfall. He gets complacent with John Cena. He picks up a lifeless Cena. He could pin him now, he's got him dead to rights, but he wants to put the exclamation mark on it. So he claymores him, picks him up once again, being all arrogant, runs to the rope, but on his return, he gets planted with an AA, and Cena wastes no time and lynches in the STFU, forcing to Drew McIntyre to eventually tap out. They are both absolutely knackered after a world-class performance. And this leads us to Cena's final ever SmackDown, and I wouldn't change much about this apart from the fact Brock Lesnar's there, because in my version, he's nowhere to be seen. However, Sami Zayn does want to restart the US title open challenge after beating Solo Sikoa to win it, and he wants Cena to be his first ever opponent. Just like in real life though, just to make sure Sami is saved, I would have an interference not by Brock Lesnar, but this time by Drew McIntyre. Because in real life, that crowd wasn't exactly pro Sami Zayn against Cena anyway. If you have Sami Zayn pin Cena clean to retain the title, he's going to get booed out of the building. At least that way, this stops that happening. But this also sets up the rematch between Drew and Cena at WrestlePalooza, and instead of that calamity against Brock Lesnar, we're going to have a last man standing match against Drew McIntyre here. And Cena on the next Raw addresses that Drew McIntyre really is his own worst enemy. He's got all the talent in the world. In fact, he should have won multiple world championships. But he can't get out of his own way, and he blames everybody else for his mistakes. And at WrestlePalooza, it's going to be no different. He is going to lose because when all's said and done, Drew McIntyre will do what he always does, cry on X like a crybaby bitch. And these pair go to a war with each other at WrestlePalooza, man, very similar to how Cody and Cena did at SummerSlam. But no matter what the other person does to each other, neither will stay down. Cena AAs Drew into the announce table, he gets up. Drew multiple claymores, Cena still gets up. Cena even tries to bury Drew under a mountain of debris, he still gets up. And Cena realizes he's not going to beat Drew by pure brute force. He's got to think outside the box. And this is a no disqualification match after all. So he goes under the ring for a solid 5-10 seconds and he pulls out some tape. And if you remember correctly, this is a throwback to his last man standing match against Batista. And he does exactly what he did to him, guys. He puts his legs around the turnbuckle and he wraps it in sellotape so he can't get away. And Drew's trying everything he can to get out of this tape, but he simply cannot get out of it. The ref counts to 10, Cena wins the match, and instead of that shit show we got against Brock Lesnar, we get two very good matches with Drew McIntyre. This leaves 5 days in total. You've obviously got Crown Jewel, 2 Monday Night Raws, Survivor Series, and of course his last ever match, the Saturday Night Main Event. Which I don't know about you, but that doesn't sit right with me. It's got to be something bigger. However, Cena leading up to Crown Jewel doesn't actually have an opponent, so what he does instead, he puts out a video package. He says he's going to show up at Crown Jewel, and anybody who wants some can come get some. And once again, this is an opportunity for a lot of wrestlers to just bite on that. Now, for me personally, I would freaking love that person to be Bron Breakker, but he's busy with the Vision stuff, the storyline with Seth and all that shebang, so unfortunately we got to rule him out of this. So who would benefit the most from a match at this point with John Cena? I personally don't think it's anybody on the main roster. I think it's another NXT superstar, and I do believe that person could be Obafemi. And I know he's an NXT superstar, he shouldn't be going against Cena at Crown Jewel, but if you remember correctly, Kevin Owens debuted on the main roster against Cena and he beat him as well. And honestly, I think Obafemi's got to beat Cena here too. Now, if you know ball, you know just how good Obafemi is. The Cena rub alongside a 20-minute good match in his, technically, his PLE debut for the main roster, that sets him up to be the next megastar. And I would have the story being the young guns wanting to prove something to the old gunslinger on his way out, and he eventually does. After the match though, Obafemi and Cena have a very clear sign of respect for each other, but Obafemi leaves the ring for John Cena to just soak everything in. And that, my friends, is how you raise Obafemi stocks by a million. But now we land on the Monday Night Raw, the second to last one ever in his hometown of Boston, and as you can imagine, he comes out to an absolute explosion of a pop. He gets on the mic and he says, "Damn, that was louder than I thought it was going to be, but I'm willing to bet I can get you guys making more noise than that." He speaks about everything he's done, not only in the retirement tour, but his entire career, how he's main evented multiple WrestleManias, 17-time champion, he's won Royal Rumbles, he's won absolutely everything, except for one thing. He's never won the Intercontinental Championship. And true to Cena's word, the crowd go absolutely berserk at this, and Cena smiles and says, "See, told you." And this is where we hear the Judgment Day music, and Dom comes out with JD McDonough and Finn Balor. And he's saying, "I don't give a rat's backside if you're on a retirement tour. You're not here to pick your matches when you pick and choose, old timer. I earned this title, and every single defense I've had was hard fought and brutal, but I came away the victor every single time because I earned it." And Cena simply replied saying, "That title right there? The one around your waist? The one you pinned your so-called friend for? And Finn Balor, realizing what Cena says, stares a hole into Dom for that. And Dom's kind of like knowing it's happening, but he tries to ignore it. And this is where Adam Pearce comes out saying, you know, John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship sounds incredible, doesn't it? But let's make things a little more interesting. Tonight, Dom and Finn, you will take on John Cena and an opponent of his choosing in tonight's main event tag team match. Dom, if you win, then the match doesn't happen. But if Cena wins, not only does he get the match at Survivor Series, but no interference shall be made by any Judgment Day member. This way, it's not just an appearance in his hometown of Boston. He's actually wrestling there for the last time ever, which I think makes it a little more special. Now, for his tag team partner, we're going to be pulling some strings, but trust me, this is perfect. It's gonna be Rey Mysterio, because the story there, I mean, oh, it's just poetry. So the match happens, and because of some miscommunication between Dom and Finn gets put into an AA, planted and pinned for the 1, 2, 3. There's no interference from the Judgment Day at Survivor Series. He's all on his own. And we now go to the last Monday Night Raw ever for Cena at Madison Square Garden. It's a contract signing between Cena and Dom for the one title he's never won. And just like it will be in the match, Dom is at the contract signing all by himself. They both signed the contract, no problem. Nick Aldis announces it's official. Dom goes to pick up the microphone, but Cena cuts him off saying, no, 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 no. Nobody wants to hear you talk. I need to tell you something, Dom, and I need you to digest this because it's about time someone put your bitch ass in your place. You're by far the luckiest bastard in this company. You only got hired because of your dad in the first place. You then won your first championship here because of your dad. Then you have the goal to turn on your dad because, what? You're calling him a deadbeat? No, you don't hate him because he's a deadbeat dad. You hate him because you'll never get out of his shadow. Let's look at your history, Dom. What have you won on your own? Everything you've accomplished is because of the Judgment Day. When you really think about it, they're your meal ticket to success. And that's where you become unstuck, because at Survivor Series, Little Dirty Dom is all on his own with the greatest of all time. And I would shake your hand and wish you luck, but you're holding the one thing I've never won. And I kind of want it from you. Dom then starts hammering away on Cena, trying to get the upper hand, but Cena gets him up for the AA and plants him through the table. The end shot to Cena holding the Intercontinental title for, if I'm not mistaken, the first time ever in his career, and he's lifting it up to the hard cam. As for the match itself, you can have a lot of fun with this. You can have the Eddie Guerrero chair spot if you want. You can have Dom cowering in the corner saying he's had enough, Cena playing along with it, then absolutely clocking him. Dom could get a bit of metal into his shin like he is in real life, hitting Cena with the 619, but Cena catches him like Rusev does. There's a lot you can do. But we enter the final act of the match, and to everybody's surprise, Dom is actually getting the upper hand on Cena with no cheating involved. Like, he has tried to cheat, it's not weird, but he's now playing properly, he's now wrestling properly, and he's beating Cena. He gets him in the 619 position, he hits him, he gets the frog splash on him. Everybody thinks he's going to win. 1, 2, but Cena's leg gets on the rope. But it didn't get there on its own, and it is revealed, just like Damian Priest, Finn Balor has betrayed Dom Mysterio. And we're doing this now because if it was left to that bald twat with a big nose in charge of WWE, this will be done by the time we're all old and grey. Anyways, Finn Balor gets sent to the back by the referee. Dom Mysterio's in disbelief, but he turns around into an AA from Cena. There's no cheating involved. He's taking advantage of no situation when you think about it. 1, 2, 3. John Cena becomes a Grand Slam champion at Survivor Series. He's completed his wrestling journey. The crowd goes absolutely berserk. Cena makes history. And this does leave December 13th, Saturday Night Main Event, his last ever match. This doesn't give us much room at all for a build-up or anything like that, but we're going to do what they're doing in real life, which is really annoying because when I originally scripted this, they hadn't announced this, and I'm really freaking annoyed because you lot are going to think I copied this off them, but it's not the case. However, with Cena being the Intercontinental title, we can probably go a different way from what they're doing in real life, because right now, we've got no idea what they're actually doing. 2 matches have been announced, that's it. Instead of a 16-man tournament, we're going to have an 8-man tournament to decide who has the honour to be Cena's last opponent. And in this tournament, you've got people from his past, and you've got people who he's never faced before. So you'll have The Miz, Sheamus, Rusev, Penta, Carmelo Hayes. You'll have Trick Williams getting his debut from NXT, because I don't know what more he's got to do in NXT, by the way. And you know what? I'm going to throw a wild card here in. I'm going to give Joe Hendry a go, because why not? The guy's freaking brilliant and great, and he deserves it. The main thing, though, out of these 8 people, quite literally any of them have a fair shot at actually winning it, and for a good reason behind it. However, for me, I feel like the story writes itself. It is going to be Sheamus winning this tournament, going against Cena, trying to finally win the Intercontinental title for himself. And don't forget, Cena's the first guy he beat to win the WWE Championship, so there is a little bit of poetry here with that. So the stage is set, we get to the night, of course it is the main event, and for Cena's entrance, I want to do something a little bit special. We get a video package from Cena's early days, that infamous photo of him holding that title, to his days in OVW. It then goes to his debut with Kurt Angle, and as he says ruthless aggression and slaps him, I want it to show a montage of all of Cena's greatest hits, greatest matches, greatest moments, greatest rivalries. I'm talking his first ever US title win, his first WWE Championship win, the Royal Rumble, his first ever WrestleMania main event too. I want him to be facing off against all his greatest foes, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns. Yes, you can have Brock Lesnar in there because he is technically one of the greatest foes. You got Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, The Miz. Who else? I can't think right now. Randy Orton, CM Punk, Edge, Triple H, Bray Wyatt too, you gotta throw him in there. You throw winning the 17th championship at WrestleMania 41. Then it fast forward to now with an end shot of Cena himself saying on the video, the last time is now. His music then hits, but it's not the usual theme you're familiar with. It's the Doctor of Thugonomics theme, and I want to do something quite cool for this. Just hear me out. You get every single version of John Cena that's ever been put in front of us on TV coming out, from the latest to the earliest, literally front to back. I'm talking the gimmick where he wore a different pair of trunks depending on where he is. I'm talking about the Dr. Thugonomics. I'm talking about every single t-shirt he's ever worn on TV. Mirror his WrestleMania 25 entrance. Obviously, the ramp, the entranceway's got to be pretty big for this, but you know what? I don't care. We're making it happen. It's Cena's last freaking entrance. Pyro goes off when they're all out. They all do that. And then the real John Cena comes out for the final time. He makes his way to the ring, quite literally from his earliest days to the very end of them, through the John Cenas. Alicia Taylor goes on to make a very emotional final announcement with the crowd really getting behind it too. Sheamus is even there applauding it as well, because him and Cena have utmost respect for each other. The bell then rings, the crowd goes absolutely mental, they come face to face, shake each other's hands, and proceed to beat the shit out of each other. It's a Sheamus match. What do you expect? They both take turns on getting the upper hand. I mean, Sheamus does the 10 bows of the Bodran, then Cena does it to Sheamus. They then bust out other moves from wrestlers, like Sheamus does the Claymore kick on Cena because him and Drew McIntyre are buds. Cena clocks Sheamus with the zigzag, which is obviously Nemesis/Dolph Ziggler's. However, as the match goes on, Cena is visibly getting it taken out of him, while Sheamus is still going quite strong. And you can see the conflict on Sheamus' face, because he knows what he needs to do to win. It's just who he's got to do it to win. He's not got to just put Cena down for the 3 count. When he does that, he puts him down for good. Sheamus, though, is in the corner. He's setting up for the bro kick. Cena's in position. He goes for it. Cena, though, gets out of the way. But it's not because of his instinct. It's not because he saw it coming. It's because there's nothing more left in the tank for Cena. He is absolutely done. Sheamus just looks at him, crawling to the corner, trying to pick up his lifeless corpse to try and fight again. The crowd as well are sensing that the end is getting near. Cena turns around, he gets his arms up, he wants to carry on fighting, and that leaves Sheamus no choice. He bro kicks Cena, he's out for the count, he very hesitantly gets him for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Cena loses. Sheamus becomes a Grand Slam champion at long last. But he doesn't muck around. He gets the title. He leaves the ring. He looks back. A little nod of respect. And he leaves for Cena. And all that's left in the ring is John Cena as he slowly comes to, serenaded by Thank You Cena, and a massive round of applause showing respect for the absolute greatest of all time. He talks about how grateful he is to WWE, everybody in the back who's ever helped him out. I was going to miss this. I was going to miss the WWE universe. And I was, more importantly, never ever going to forget them. And he ends it with, my time is officially up. It's now up to you, because your time is now. I love you. Thank you for everything. And if it's left to me, which in this case it is, he headlines Hall of Fame every single slot, no questions asked. I don't care if Stephanie McMahon's there this time. Nope, she can do it next year. This time it's Cena's time. And that is how I would book John Cena's retirement tour. No joke there at the end. I was getting a hell emotional, man. I had to take a couple of takes to get that out. Fucking hell. But let me know, for the first time doing this, what did you think? Did you think I did better than Triple H? Did you think I did worse? Which, if that is the case, I'm never making another wrestling video ever again. But if you did enjoy this and thought I did an alright job, please leave this video a like and smash that subscribe button if you are new around here and you love wrestling content, because there's a lot coming your way. That's all from me though. Take it easy, wrestling fans. I will catch you next time.